Well, hello there. My name is Chad Weber, and I wanted to take a moment to share with you a couple of exciting strategies on how I get ridiculous webinar conversions. Now, I know it says webinar conversions on the screen, but this actually applies to just about any sales funnel. But my original testing methods started off with webinars, so that's what we're going to focus on here today. Now, I do have even though this is not a sales pitch by any means for this particular video, I do have an ulterior motive here. Is I do have a launch coming up, Scientific Conversions, and I just really wanted to make sure that I'm doing the smart things to get the word out. And I know there's really no better way to get the word out than to first share with the group, and share not just good information but great information. So I know I'm being a little strategic here. It's how I roll. But I figure this is a smart way to, if you guys haven't been introduced to Scientific Conversions yet, this is going to be your opportunity to. But the information I'm going to be sharing with you here, guys, I think is going to give you a very powerful mental shift in the way you look at conversions when it comes to webinars and your list. So if you don't believe me, just give me 2 minutes here and see if you don't agree. First off, the strategy that I was using is what we call list-based tracking. Now, a lot of us track our websites through Google Analytics or some sort of analytics or metrics program, but how many of us are actually tracking our lists? And when I say tracking, what I mean is that we're wanting to engage in behavior based follow-up. So a lot of us do this in a very minimalistic sort of way, in that we have separate emails groups set up depending on what they bought, but how many of us are actually responding and reacting to the behavior of our list? And what I mean by that is we can respond based off of the actions that they take. So, and to give you a background as to how this works, I use a script that I insert onto multiple pages of my website, okay? And what this script does is it tracks my list, not just anybody that lands on my site, but specifically those that are signed up to my list, all right? So if they're my GetResponse, my Aweber, whatever, we can track them based off of their positive actions. And positive actions means if they visit a specific website, that could be a sales page, a squeeze page, a thank you page. If they download something, that could be a white paper or an e-guide. If they buy something, or if they start to buy something but then stop and don't follow through, I can track all of that because those are positive actions. But we can also track them based off of negative actions. And negative actions means when they don't do something. So let's say I host a webinar and I send them over to a specific page where I want them to check out an offer, but they never go. Well, that's a negative action. They did not take action. So I can track based off of those negative actions. Did they do something? Did they download something? Did they visit a page? Did they buy something? If not, I can see who on my list is doing it versus who is not. And then finally, what we have what we call time-based triggers. And time-based means how much time has passed since maybe they visited my blog. After 60 days, isn't that kind of disengaged at that point? They're not exactly a hot lead if 60 days go by and they haven't visited one of your sales pages, or your blog, or a product, or whatever the case may be, a webinar sign up page. These are time-based triggers. So after, let's say this works especially well when you have special offers or OTOs or whatever the case may be. Again, with this behavior-based follow-up, we open up a whole new level of conversions when it comes to webinars and sales funnels. And we're going to talk about this in just a moment, but the important takeaway here, folks, is that list behavior tells a story. Okay, it removes the guesswork when it comes to what should I be sending this person versus that person. So your conversions literally go through the roof. But you got to be paying attention. If you're not looking for it, then you're going to miss the story completely. All right. So the bottom line is, guys, that we constantly say that money is in the list, but then we track and get excited about analytics for our websites. But, well, if the money's in the list, then shouldn't we be putting at least the same amount, if not more, effort into tracking the performance and behavior of our email list as opposed to just cold traffic visiting our website? Because we already know that somebody on your list, especially if it's a buyer's list, they're 700% more likely to buy something else from you. 700%. That's where we're making the bulk of our money. 80-20 rule, right? 80% of our income is coming from that list, from 20% of our traffic, or primarily from that list, right? So we should be tracking this, guys, and taking reaction accordingly. So let me give you an example of how I got started with tracking and putting this into action, specifically with a webinar. So my first experiment when I was introduced to this concept was, well, let's host a webinar and see what it does, okay? So I took that code that I told you about that'll track based off of triggers and performance. behavior, and I put it on a squeeze page. I put it on a post webinar polling page, and then I put it on my sales page, and then I also put it on my thank you page. All right, so actually put it on 4 pages, and what this allowed me to do was to track my sales flow. Okay, so I could see, how many individuals, from my list went to my squeeze page but then didn't go to my poll, or went to my squeeze page in my poll but then didn't go to my sales page, or made it all the way to the sales page but then didn't follow through with the purchase. Okay, so that told me a huge story right there. I could track and see which lists perform best and so forth. So this gave me a really nice idea as to who was interested in what and where the bottlenecks were in my sales flow. But even more important, what this allowed me to do, guys, was to set off triggers. Okay, so based off of this, I could funnel individuals that landed on certain pages and send customized messages. So if you made it to the poll but didn't make it to the sales page, then a custom message asking why you didn't go to the sales page would go out. Or if you only made it to the squeeze page but not to the poll, then a separate set of email messages went out. Or if you made it to the sales page but didn't place the order, a whole nother set or group of messages would go out. So I have hyper focused emails. But here's the scariest part, that this is what drove me to start doing this, guys, was the DMA, okay, the Direct Marketing Association. When they came out and stated that 71% of orders are abandoned. So that's 71% of individuals that actually pull out their wallets and actually start filling out to order your product, never finish. They walk away for some reason. And I said, wow, that's scary. That's almost 3/4 of my business just walking away. So I wanted to find out, what can I do to earn that back? And here's what I started doing, guys, was I took that same script, and since I could track where people are stopping, I could also track the individuals on my list, so I know exactly which individuals actually went to the order page and actually started filling it out. And I would put them into a special group, and I would send out a real-time reminder. I experimented with 24-hour reminders or real-time reminders, and the real-time reminders rocked it. Okay, real-time reminders were the winner. So they would immediately, once they left without ordering, after they started the process, they would get a reminder email asking them why, and maybe even giving them some additional incentive. And then if that still didn't drive them to finish, then I would send a secondary reminder within 24 hours. Now, if you start letting days and days and days go by, the leads would get colder. But boom, if you could hit them rapidly, real time within minutes, and then again within 24 hours, and then maybe again at 72 hours, I was able to reclaim 19% of those abandoned orders. So that might not seem like a life-changing figure, but think about 19%. You're only getting 29% to begin with. So you're adding quite a bit of extra income just by reclaiming those individuals that walked away. And I know the concept of shopping cart abandonment is not exactly new, but I know that most of us still aren't doing it, and that's kind of scary, that you're losing 71% of your potential business when you could be reclaiming a certain amount of that right back into your wallet. But even that, as awesome as those results were, and getting all this great information, here was the real value of doing all of this. And this is how you rock your webinars, guys, is you find out what people want, and you invite them to the appropriate webinars. Okay, and what I did was, I would drive the people who didn't buy, I would drive them back to the website, okay, to see what content. I would make different offers, maybe a second offer or a survey to find out why, or maybe introduce them to different products and topics, because what happens is when they take action and they start reading and spending time on certain articles, you find out, well, it invited them to, an offline webinar, when in reality they're interested in CPA. Or I invited them to ClickBank, webinars, when in reality they were interested in CPA or a different type of affiliate marketing, or launching WSOs, or whatever the case may be. But nothing bad happens from learning more about what people on your list really, really want, and that's the value of this approach. Okay. So extremely powerful stuff here. I'm going to go, this is part one. I didn't want to take up a whole bunch of your time, and I didn't have opportunity to put together part two just yet. But here's what I have going on, guys. As I told you that I had kind of a selfish, or an ulterior motive for doing this. Here's the selfish part, is the serialmarketer.com/affiliate. I'm going to put together part two here. I'm going to make that available to the affiliates. I really hope that you guys come check us out, the serialmarketer.com/affiliate. If nothing else, at least take a look at it. We're launching February 19th, and this is a product that's very similar to the information you're learning here, but even to a much deeper level. Has not been offered on the Warrior Forum yet, and we're anticipating some really big things here, and I really hope that you guys come join us. we have swipes and contests and all this other stuff going on. But in the meantime, folks, I will put together part two, and I look forward to hearing about the results you guys get from implementing this. I hope this has opened your eyes to a new way of looking at your list, and if nothing else, at least behavior-based targeting and how that's even more powerful than just basic demographic targeting. All right, so again, that's theserialmarketer.com/affiliate. Check us out. If nothing else, stop by and say hello. Thank you again, guys, for all your wonderful advice. I wanted to give back to the communities, the Facebook groups of warriors, and those of you who are really rocking it in the online world. I really appreciate your advice and helping me get to this point with this new launch. And this is my way of giving back. So I hope you find it beneficial. Make it a great day, folks. Bye now.